G'day and welcome back to Ranneko Plays Torment, Tides of Ranmenera. Last time round, we of course can't just proceed straight to the trading post, which is where we were directed to go, because of course there is something in the way. So let's have a chat with Sunderman the Younger and the Elder. We also popped a pustule and got freed an abacus, because we could. And let's see what we can do here. This friendly-looking youth is dipping strips of cured bloom flesh into coloured dye. He looks up at your approach, revealing startlingly yellow eyes. Hello, madam. Are you interested in our wares? They're handcrafted and one of a kind. What sort of work are you doing? I'm Sunderman's apprentice. That means I do whatever he tells me, really. Mostly harvesting usable bloom flesh. It's always an adventure. Flesh harvesting, though my elder tells me I'll be going on a bigger adventure soon. Can't wait. What do you sell here? He'll probably be interested in the specialty items and armor we craft from bloom flesh. We also sell everyday stuff like clothing and building materials. Everybody buys from us, even those merchants. Talk to my elder if you want to buy anything. It seems like you know the bloom pretty well. Any moors nearby? Oh, I know one for sure, in the Chiogin slump. Been there a really long time. I hear there's one in the old slave block too. Don't go there because of the Murdens, so I can't be sure. Isn't it dangerous to harvest bloom flesh? I mean, surely the bloom doesn't like you doing that? Not really. People only fear the bloom when they don't understand it. I've lived here all my life and nothing's ever happened to me. Oh, but it will, youngster. It will. That's not creepy at all, old man. You keep saying that, but you won't say when. If I did, you might try to avoid it. I know I would, if only to see what happens next. I'm interested in your wares. Great, you should talk to my elder. He handles the actual trading. That's super creepy, old man. Nearby, a display of goods that all appear to be made of bloom flesh, either tanned, carved, beaten, blah blah blah. Old man who seems fairly tanned, beaten, carved and cured himself. He also has startling yellow eyes, just like his apprentice. Hello, admiring my stock. You won't find anything else like it, not even here in the bloom. All handcrafted and one of the kind. Well, let's chat first, eh? Who wouldn't when confronted with such unusual merchandise? Asked away. Couldn't help but notice you two look alike. Well spotted, well spotted. He grins widely, a twinkle in his eye. And would you speculate? Why would you speculate that is, madam? Ah, I love telling you that story. She'll never guess. Your features are nearly identical, as if you're the same person. I'm pretty sure it's either 3 or 4 here. So let's go with 4. Ah, well done. Not many people manage to figure that one out. Let me tell you what happened, or will happen if you'd like. Actually, that Aeon priest in the slump saw it too. Is it somehow more obvious than it used to be? One day soon, my younger self will be walking along when the bloom will suddenly open a maw beneath him. He'll tumble into another world years in the past, or maybe journey to the past. The journey to the past will be when he tries to come back. Whatever the case, it will take him many decades and worlds to get back here. I envy him the experiences he will have, but thank him for the memories. Doesn't knowing what'll happen change the future? Why? I knew what was coming, but it hasn't changed my past. Sounds like a dangerous journey. Shouldn't you warn yourself? I did, but I didn't listen. Besides, when I think about all the stories I've filled my head with, it's hard to remember exactly what I said about when the big day is. But it's coming soon. I love that he's just totally happy with the time paradox. Alright, what about the cyst? Whatever was in there was probably pretty dangerous, and now it's out thanks to a certain someone who thought they knew better than the bloom. What about the memories? What are some memories you have? Yeah. My first journey was to a desert world, where the natives looked like humanoid spiders. It's the best way I know to describe them. They spoke with their minds in a combination of colors that danced between their fingers. It was difficult to get them to understand me, but we managed to find a way. I'm lucky they didn't eat me. When I'd gained their trust, I worked with them as a guide and hunter. I'd flush their prey and they'd snare it with great chemical lattices. But one was always looking at me like he wanted to get a taste of me, and one day he made a move. I ran past and found the bloom's maw still open, but time bent and I came back in the past. The one you want to look for is Riddle. Okay, what do you sell here? Bloom flesh, my friend. Bloom flesh. We craft everything out of it. You could say our business is blooming. Huh, good one, Sonderman. Thanks, Sonderman. I liked it myself when I first heard it. Alright, what do you got for sale? So, that armor with the face on it, that's always good, right? So that hurts everything, but heals us each turn and damages enemies. Interesting. Fashioned from the flesh of the bloom, this armor is very much alive, perhaps the Elder Sonderman's masterwork. The thick flesh offers excellent physical protection, while its trans-dimensional nature protects the wearer from more exotic attacks. In the center of the chest is a tiny maw, though you're not sure where it leads. The living flesh is tough and resistant to manipulation, making the armor difficult to put on. However, once it is worn for a time, it shapes itself to your form, becoming as familiar as your own skin. The sensation is comforting, even if the notion is not. And, yeah, okay. That is 807. Sure, we can sell some junk for that. A bloom bone shard. Interesting. That would be better than what we've got. I don't really care about most of these. So, this. If I sell off the crystal shard, okay, and I get this. It's harvested from one of the balloon's teeth. Crude but effective looking weapon. Sounds good. Grab it. That's not it.
Good balance.
Alrighty. Excellent. Now, let's sell off, not the Kandiru. The Howden. What about this war mask? It's another oddity. Yeah, let's do that. And this one, yeah, we'll sell off the stillness cage. And these are all basically meant to be vendor items. And then if we grab bloom flesh armor. Delightfully creepy. Alright, so that's that done. Let's, I guess, go through our items. So we are actually not running out of space for ciphers. Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, that's that sorted. I'm sure it will become relevant later. Let's talk with this fellow who keeps fading in and out, called Walks Without Fear. At first you're not sure if your eyes are playing tricks on you. A semi-transparent man shuffles and struts before you, his body fading in and out of incorporeality. His once fine clothes have rotted away. His long beard looks to be host to any number of small vermin, and his eye sockets are disturbingly empty. Matkina studies the man, mentally subtracting and adding features. She gives a sharp intake of breath and whispers, "Can it be? Can it be? No, he couldn't have survived." Somehow the man hones directly in on your face, and you have the unnerving feeling he can see more than what's on the surface. The staring sockets are deep and cavernous, as if they contain depths and space beyond the confines of his skull. Matkina, who is this man? This is the old Ranmenera, don't you see? This man knows all the secrets of the bloom. He was tied to it, bonded to it. I worked for him for years alongside the bitch who occupies the position now. When he disappeared, she threw me out. I've looked for him for a long time. He turns attention to the bearded man. Sir, it's Matkina. You called me the White Death, remember? He turns his cavernous eye sockets to her, and they study her for a long time, considering. Light begins to seep into his face, and a small smile creeps across his lips. I think I remember, but memories are lost in the telling. He thinks again. Better to tell it now and have the story remembered. You say I'm the old Ranmenera, so we must speak of the new to understand my tale. That face, so familiar. Remember Vera? Yes, and she, my white death. I remember. His lips part in a feral smile as he grasps at the lost memories of his mind. The new Memavira? What has she done worth mentioning? Who trembles at her voice? Tell me, who fears her step? Who among her people wouldn't slip a blade into her back? Oh, she did it for me, it's true, her and her coterie. But I had loyal retainers to the end. Loyalty and fear, like a fist. She may have taken my place, but she'll never match my rule. If the bloom hadn't turned against me after my decade in power, I'd still be there. But she dragged me to the heart of the beast and let it sift through my mind, fed it all my crimes, and then she left me there. Ask your questions of me while the fragments of memory still linger. Ask now and make the questions count. What happened in the heart of the bloom? She brought me through a new moor, an entry to the heart I've never seen. It was then I knew what she intended, and we fought. But she was fast and strong, and I was old and drunk. She didn't kill me, though. Oh no, she wanted me to suffer for the crime of raising her up. She bound me there, and stood above me, and revelled in my pain, as the bloom sucked away everything I ever was. I'll say this for her, she was better at malice than I ever was. Such excruciating pain. Ah, but that memory slips. Thank the gods. Let's see. How did she unsee you? She knew the bloom was angry at me. She told me she'd been below and found something that she thought might explain why I lost my bond. I didn't know she'd hidden her killers around the bloom, or that she was the one who ruined shipments or driven off the citizens. She'd put her muscle into play, and I never even saw it, and she took me to the heart of the bloom. When you went down, her thugs moved in. They killed nearly everyone in the fortress who'd sworn for you. They hunted us down in the belly of the bloom. They cast us through moors under unfamiliar suns. I fled into the city with a few of you lieutenants, and we left to kill some of our friends. And we had to kill some of our friends to get through the gates. Once we'd settled in up there, she started hunting us in the city too. She cast aside years of tradition to hunt me. I'd have sworn loyalty when you died. Nothing you could have done. Nothing. She was bold. She was fast. What do you think of her? A backstabbing harlot, a scheming whore. She couldn't hope to hold what I'd built. She has a talent for brutality, but no mind for structure. Even if I've forgotten her, I'll laugh when the bloom devours her of her. And it will. The bloom tires of her even more quickly than I. Soon now. And tell me about your rainness in Memavira. The memories slip, lights skittering down a tunnel as I grab at them. They go, no, stop them, they're me. A look of pity crosses her face. She catches your gaze and shakes her head and looks away. I know his pain, she says. I know. What are you doing here? I walked through this larger part of me and let it guide my steps. The weapons of humans mean nothing to this shape, and the paths of the bloom open for me. I am part of the bloom. It is a part of me. I have been to places others have never seen. I have seen worlds that lie waiting beyond the moors. What happened to you? The bloom took my old life from me. I woke in its beating heart and gestated there while it digested my memory. I remember being terrified, but I do not remember what terrified means. I had a body, I had a name, I had an emotion, and a life outside this form, but I do not remember any of those things now. I do not remember fear. I am born in a new life. I am free. And who are you? His socket's staring to you for a moment while he considers. At last he shakes his head and says, I do not know. I have language, and I have the memory of muscles, but I do not remember how I came by these truths. What I remember is waking in the depths of the bloom. I remember walking. I remember years of darkness before I emerged into the upper reaches at last. The bloom took something, took me, but gave me peace in its place. Okay, so that's what happens when you finish. Interesting. And these are named people. Walls of this dwelling, threats and slurs. Interesting. That's a big, yeah, woman that we can enter. That sounds wrong. Alright, do we want to chat to people or do we want to explore? Let's poke at this thing, whatever it is. This pool is filled with yellowish water. A wide area around the pool is wet, suggesting people have been drinking the unpleasant fluid, possibly bathing in it too. Let's look into the pool. Beneath the surface of the pool is a large reservoir of fluid. You can't see anything of interest in its depth. Let's collect some of the fluid. You find a small discarded flask at the edge of the well and fill it with yellowish fluid. Okay. Confers bloom juice until your next sleep. Okay, interesting. I didn't actually want to use it, that's good. Now let's drink some of it. You take a sip of the yellowish water. It has a greasy texture and a slightly sour taste, but it quenches your thirst, and you take another sip. You start to hear whispers. They're faint at first, but they grow louder, resolving into chittering voices of the bloom. They buzz in your ears, scratching at the inside of your skull. You stumble, struggling to keep your balance, even as your senses dull. The bloom's voices seem clearer than they were before. You're immediately aware the voices here sound angry. Hundreds of them hiss and shriek in murderous rage, directing their eye towards the inflamed, fleshy dwelling on the platform. What happens if I drink more of it? Nothing. Drink it. Oh, it says this is probably going to make things worse. Do it anyway. Take another long drink of water. The bloom's voices grow louder still, drowning out your thoughts, chittering madly in your ears. The world blurs. You stumble and collapse to the ground, and everything goes dark.
Can't die.
Hey! We died. We also got the achievement Death Wish, which is dying by drinking too much bloom juice. So we got no ghost here. Alright, so we died. Nothing new in our mind, but I guess that gives us an idea. I wonder if we're still bloom juiced. Well, I guess we'll check. So we get up. Oh, those are different. No, those are not different looking people. So what about our fettles? We are not bloom juiced. So the first step is to drink more of the fluid and get bloom juiced again. Next step is to head in here to this dwelling of things that people hate. Okay, so we got constructs and we got so many things to look at. Yep. Okay, machines for monitoring. Papers lie. Let's leave those just for the moment. Monitoring devices, symbols, things. So they're doing something. Investigating something the bloom does not appreciate. That's what I'm getting from this. So let's start by chatting with Eoxu, who appears to be visiting Vargellan, in fact. This Vargellan looks much like others of its kind. Violet red skin, yellow eyes, a tall crest atop its head. This one appears to have chosen a male form for now. He wears thin lenses over his eyes, and some strange device encircles his head, with a weighted attachment dangling from the ends of long straps. His calloused pointed fingers are stained, and his garments are unkempt and in disarray. He looks impatiently at you as you interrupt his work, his eyes snapping between you and the door. The interruptions continue. What would you have of Eoxu? Why do you keep looking at the door? Apologies for me. The noise and constant interruption from those outside are inconducive to proper behavior. They've been escalating their discussions towards violence.
I'll remember that.
The experiments conducted within this chamber are perhaps unlikely to gain the favor of the bloom. Indeed, the great beast has evinced some displeasure. Its pathetic worshippers who gather here to mock have begun to seek ways to stop me, an effort to appease that deity. He gives you a hopeful look. I would reward anyone who can drive them off. It only shows I am doing something worthy. True knowledge risks danger. He glances behind you first time and recoils visibly on seeing Makina. Can it be? Stories have circulated. They said you were dead, and the Mamavira had found you at last. Not yet. I'm surprised to see you're still alive, Eoxu. Wouldn't have wagered on it.
The White Death honors me. Stories of your prowess continue. In the meantime, I abide, gathering and learning, even in the face of protesters outside. But knowledge has always had its detractors. They will do what they must. As long as my work lives on, I cannot. What would you have from me? What sort of work are you doing? Look, smell, taste, measure, understand. Those voices flat, you can see the pleasure in his face. Apprehension is the key to knowledge. The bloom is a creature unlike any other. Yet who has taken the time to study its nature? The first is Yoksu. The work done here will illuminate the bloom for those who follow. For decades I have been here. Physical structures, biological needs, behavior, mental construction, known history of the beast, history of inhabitants. All these things I have gathered. Where does it originate? I believe a twin star holds the answer. A place of howling winds and immense gravity. Fear tells me this creature is not yet mature, that the years will see its size increase. To what purpose? Destruction? Consumption? Ascension? I fear I will never know. Reality bends around the bloom. Its ways twist and turn, but even where its stability is assumed, the bloom's presence resists understanding. It resists mapping. This is the most important of my work, to make secrets known that all may benefit. And the device in the middle of the room? The bloom detests those who seek to understand it on a rational level. For some time now it has sought my destruction, to erase all accomplishments here. The device generates a multi-spectrum field that repels the bloom's advances, but this means only that it waits for me without. Had other devices not been available to create food and drink, I should have perished here. And the construct? Many years ago it came to my door. It vowed service to me if its memories and personality could be erased. I did not ask why, just as I would hope to have my own reasons respected. It now serves to protect me against those who would come to do me harm, most specifically the Murdens and the cultists. What do you think would make them leave you alone? Defeating them with reasoned arguments would be difficult. I present no danger to them, not like you. A threat of force might persuade them, but I believe they tell the truth about enjoying the bloom's favor. To oppose them is to draw ire. And do you have anything you'd be willing to sell me? I did not anticipate the need for these devices any longer. Perhaps they can serve you. So basically, he will sell us stuff, including things that will heal us, things that will boost our ciphers that will... okay. That sounds nice. Don't care about that. Shuckling Shroud is not really something I want. Heretic's Force. Ah! So this is a way of getting scanned thoughts without being a nano. Interesting. And then these other things that I don't care about. Although that's probably a weapon I would have preferred than the Bone Shard. Whatever. Okay. And then Psychic Focus. Don't care. Alright. So if I sell off some of the stuff I don't anticipate using. Oh. Okay. I should put these around to other characters at some point. Okay. Let's get rid of some of these things. Humming and hiding. Secrets of the Labyrinth of Sound. I'm not going to get rid of that just yet. I will get rid of the... Let's give that to her. Brood's Ears. Yeah. I'll sell that off. Okay. And just to double check, I have in fact transferred those things when I moved them. Right? Because he got, not the Impossible Blade, this thing. That's an ornament that goes there.
Do I look dashing or smashing?
Okay. Yeah. And then this healing sword. Oh, she uses light weapons as well. Never mind. Let's just leave those. And do we have enough for this? 380. No. Let's sell this harness. Let's sell this plating, and let's sell this regalia, and I will take it and close. Now,
Forward. Onward.
this said permanent, right? So I want to use it. Okay, now if I look at my character again, let's see, concentration. Probably should have checked. Inability does stuff. Concentration, specialized is both bonded artifacts do not confer negative effects, which is a thing I had not noticed. And does it show up anywhere here? I don't know. Can't really tell. Don't see anything there. I really should have paid attention when I used it. Regardless, neither of these are actually doing their negative effects. That's cool to know. These still have their negative effects though. Alright. That's all good. Alright, now let's poke at this machine.
Ready.
An odd device sits in the middle of the room. It looks almost as though a capsule of some sort, but it's covered in ducts, ports, and vents, and a strange blue light emanates from it. Cables run from its base throughout the room. Attached to various devices, it vibrates with a mild, occasionally stuttering pulse, and when it falters, the field that protects the interior of the shanty briefly fades. Let's have a look-see. Yeah, I mean, see no reason not to get that. The machine encapsulates a piece of bloom flesh, which is wired with various leads. It appears to core as a counter-stimulus device to drive the bloom back. Resonances and frequencies use the flesh of the great predator against itself, creating a kind of energy field that repels the bloom and keeps it from entering this chamber. But the constant pressure from the bloom's hunger is driving the machine towards irreversible breakdown. You do not think you can repair it. And this... Examine the notes and recording devices. As you reach out to examine the objects on the desk, the Vargel embarks. Careful! Much data has been invested in this work, and I recall where I placed each bit of data. Replace where you found each item. And let's have a look. As you shuffle through the Vargelan's notes, on paper, scribbled on dried bloom flesh, dictated into talking data cubes and recorded in more exotic devices, you realize the sheer volume of this information that they've collected. It is a trove of arcane and technical observations of the bloom, loosely organized into a number of categories. Behavior, self-others. Communication, self-others. Influences, influenced by. Mores, how to open, how to close, how to divert. History, unrecorded/recorded. Observations and conclusions. Every data point leads to a reference in another document. Some of these links are simply notes guessing where the data is located based on the Vargelan's recollection. If you knew where to start analyzing his enormous collection of knowledge, you might be able to get somewhere, but the volume of information is simply staggering. A team of Aeon priests couldn't process this much data in a year. For a lone scholar, it would take 10 years or more. The Vargelan has stopped glancing over as you shuffle through his notes. Instead, he's staring at you, waiting and watching. It becomes difficult to concentrate under this steady gaze, so you put the notes down and step away from the table. Let's see. If we talk about the device in the center of the room... No, there's nothing... This didn't unlock any new options. That's kind of annoying. All I can see right now is I can destroy the device in the center of the room, which I don't really want to do. I guess we'll talk to the construct and leave it for now. Barbs and blades cover the surface of this hulking metal construct. Its scalloped skin looks like a suit of intricate armor, the joints able to bend in directions impossible for a human. Though the construct is immobile, somewhere in its design sparks a frisson of involuntary dread within you, as if it were a predator regarding you. Although it looks similar to weights for prey, you can hear nothing of its thoughts, as though it were an empty shell. Let's examine the construct. Because we're good with machines. Oh, right, invigorating conversation. Yeah. The construct doesn't seem to mind your poking and prodding. Indeed, it doesn't react at all. By the time you're finished, you're reasonably certain that while it maintains basic locomotive and processing functions, its mind has been utterly erased. It truly is an automaton now, lacking any sort of free will. Some of its weapon systems have also been deactivated, though its killing blades are as deadly as ever. Who are you? What are you? Tell me about yourself. Yeah, it just does nothing, because it's basically not there. Well, I guess we will leave it at that. And next time around, we'll chat with some other people around the area. Until then, have a great day. Bye.
Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you spending the time and effort watching the videos I make. If you'd like to watch more, on the left there should be another video from this playlist. On the right there will be whatever YouTube recommends. And in the center there is a convenient subscribe button just in case you need it.